Hello, I'm glad you could join me again for another one of my podcasts. I'd like to ask you before I get started to follow me on Facebook at Midnight Rider, or you can find my videos on YouTube at Charles Cook 52 or on Rumble at Charles Cook 52 as well. If you follow me on Rumble or YouTube, I ask you to subscribe and ring the bell, click the bell so you'll get the notifications when I upload a video. And so, with that being said, I want to talk about the upcoming county elections here in the state of Tennessee. Most people don't realize it, but we have a very important chance to make an impact as far as our rights and our liberties and freedoms in these county elections. And that one job that is up, one office that is up for election this year in most counties in Tennessee is the county sheriff. And a lot of people don't realize the power that the county sheriff has. A lot of the county sheriffs don't realize the power that they have. And so, with that, being said, we need to be asking these candidates for county sheriff some very tough questions and ask them to answer these questions. And of course, we all see the county sheriff candidates. Most of them will say, "Yes, I support the Second Amendment, 100%. I believe it is the way it is written, and we should, I support it 100%." But it's not always that way. So you need to be asking them about red flag gun laws. If things like that get passed at the state level or the federal level, will they enforce them? Because they're unconstitutional. And that's their job. And I'll go into that a little bit more. Their job, they swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. And if the federal government hands down these mandates or these unconstitutional laws, they don't have an obligation to enforce those laws. And I'll give you some examples of those in a minute, where fantastic sheriffs have done their job and they understood their oath of office and protected their citizens. And so if you need to be asking them about, as I said, red flag gun laws, gun law, other gun laws as well. Civil asset forfeiture. A lot of people don't know what civil asset forfeiture is. And that's where you can lose your money or your property and not even be arrested or charged with a crime. You can simply be pulled over or have a warrant served on your house, and they walk in and search your home. And if you've got cash there, they can deem that cash as being taken part in a drug crime, even though there was no evidence of a crime. They can still take your money and your property that way, even though you've not been arrested or charged of anything. And so a lot of people don't understand that. And there is no law against carrying cash. And when we've done some work at the state level, we've found out one of the first bills that we tried to run and get out of the committee at the state level to end civil asset forfeiture, that over 60% of civil asset forfeiture seizures would have not been able to happen if it required a criminal conviction. So that means they didn't have the evidence to charge somebody. So 60% of those cases would not have happened if it required a criminal charge. So that's one thing that you need to look at. And other things like that, you need to ask them. We've seen it all across the country, enforcing these mandates as far as COVID and issues like that. Governors shutting down half of people's business, reducing the capacity for seating in restaurants and stuff. These things like that, we need to ask these sheriff candidates, would you enforce that? If a restaurant owner had a mandate put on them to reduce the capacity of his restaurant down to 50%. They have no authority to do that. And we need to know if these sheriff candidates would actually enforce that mandate, because that's what it is. It's a mandate. It's not, laws are passed by the legislature, and none of that has happened. But our governor here in Tennessee, Governor Lee, did that. So we need to ask these candidates this question: would you enforce that mandate? And if they do, if they say yes, you don't need to vote for them. So with that being said, I'll give you some good illustrations. This right here, this book right here is called County Sheriff, America's Last Hope. It's by Sheriff Richard Mack. Sheriff Richard Mack, many may have heard of him, some may have not, but this was a sheriff from Arizona. And back in the 90s, when the Brady Bill was passed and signed into law by Bill Clinton, it was unconstitutional. And so a sheriff in Arizona took him to court. He took it all the way to Supreme Court. He said the federal government had no authority to do that. This is just a county sheriff. He didn't say, well, that's the law and it's my place to enforce the law. I don't like the law, but I have to enforce the law. He said, no, it's unconstitutional. And he fought it all the way to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed with him and overturned that law. So here was a sheriff that stood up for the people in his county's rights, his gun rights. And, he done his job and actually beat it. But the thing is, he really didn't have to file and spend a lot of money to appeal it to the Supreme Court. He could have just simply said the law is unconstitutional and I refuse to enforce it. Bottom line, there is no obligation to enforce unconstitutional laws. So I'll give you another example. This is a sheriff from Elkhart, Indiana. You may not be able to see that, but I'll try to get it up there where you can see the article. And you can go look at it. It was back in, I believe, 2011. Now, this was in Elkhart, Indiana. This was a dairy farmer who was selling raw milk. Now, here's the federal agency, the Food and Drug Administration, wanted to come in and check his farm out, because there had been, as I said, this was in Indiana, there was a some kind of outbreak in Michigan, might have been called listeria or something like that, from milk. But this guy was in Indiana, they're in Michigan. They wanted to come in and inspect his farm to see, what was going on there. And he told them, no, you don't have the authority to come in and inspect my farm. And so they summoned him to appear in federal court in Michigan. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. So finally, he contacted his county sheriff, and the county sheriff sent the FDA a email and told them, if you come here to inspect his farm without a warrant, you will be trespassing. My deputies and I will meet you at the property line, and we will arrest you if you trespass on his property. Get a warrant. Simple as that. Get a warrant. What did the FDA do? They dropped the case on the man, simply because a county sheriff knew his role and protected his citizens' rights from an overreach of the federal government. And it's important, we've not seen this in the last couple of years, at least, if not the last 20 years, it is very important to have a sheriff that understands his role and the oath that he or she takes. So I'm asking you, if you care about your rights and your liberties, you need to ask tough questions of these sheriff candidates. And, if they can't answer you, or, they blow it off, or Oh, civil asset forfeiture is nothing. We got to have it. I've heard every excuse under the sun why you got to have civil asset forfeiture. The simple fact is these sheriff candidates will tell you they'll protect your Second Amendment right. Well, what about your Fourth and your Fifth and the Eighth Amendments? They must care about those rights too. They must protect those rights as well. So don't buy that. Push back on them and make them answer that question, and make them earn your vote with their answer, and hold them to it. Don't let them spin it to you that you got to do this, or you got to give up a few rights to be able to do that. Oh, we have to give up some privacy rights. We have to give up the ability to be able to carry cash because we have to fight the drug cartels. That's hogwash. Don't buy it. Because here's the little secret of civil asset forfeiture. The seasoned agency gets to keep the money, no questions asked. If they seize $1,500 for you, that you were going to go use it to buy a set of used car rims or something that you was going to buy off of somebody you found on eBay, and they stop you and they take your money, if you don't go fight it in court and burn vacation days and get a lawyer to do all this, they keep that money, and they will fight you tooth and nail to keep it. So you need to ask these tough questions. Don't buy what they tell you. Ask the questions. Question these sheriff candidates. It's very important for your rights and your liberties to be protected, and for you and your family. So with that, I hope you will take these county elections coming up this spring and summer here in Tennessee, all across the state. I hope you take them seriously and ask tough questions of these guys, because you never know what's coming down the pike. Nobody's seen this COVID stuff coming or anything else, and the mandates that was pushed on us and everything all across the country. Ask the tough questions. And with that, I thank you. And as I said before, thank you for watching, and subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. Click the notification bells so you'll get notified, and follow me on Facebook at Midnight Rider. Thank you and have a good day.